Alright, now for something a little bit different. This is one of the more interesting deck lists that I've stumbled upon and started playing. It is a No Ice Scorched Earth Jinteki deck. And we're playing against Noise. There are a lot of shocks, a lot of snares, 18 to 19 agendas, and a lot of Scorched Earth. I go with the turn 1 phone retirement here and ping an economy card off of him. One thing I noticed when going back and rewatching this game is this was one of my very first plays with this deck, and I would have played a lot of things in this game very, very differently had I been playing it today. And I'll try to point out some of those things as we go on. Subliminal Messaging is a interesting card in this deck. You think, why run Subliminal Messaging? You have no ice. Yeah, but you want the runner to run a lot against this deck. With all your traps and everything, and then of course you're running Sea Source, successful runs is what turns on the rest of the cards in your game. So for the same reason that you would want to run Subliminal Messaging and Super Modernism, you want to run it here. I'm trying to build without it right now. But anyway, it's interesting. It works well in this deck. And we're going to throw out an agenda by itself here and see if he takes the bait. I don't do it in this game. What I like doing now is I like running a shell game with this deck. But I don't normally do one trap and one agenda. I throw 2 or 3 agendas out there, or 2 or 3 traps at a time. And notice when you throw like one of each out there, people will run one, or if it's a trap, they'll run and hit the other thinking it's an agenda, and vice versa. And that would be a big mistake to make against me the way I play this deck now. I didn't really do that this game. Grimwhisper rightly decides to jack out, install a breaker that he thinks he's going to need this game, and then access the agenda so he doesn't lose it to the random net damage there. My identity here is obviously Personal Evolution. Can't tell because of the custom art there. So we're going to show him a nasty, nasty hand in headquarters here. 2 shocks and a snare. And I don't think he runs headquarters for the rest of the game. I think the standard thing to do here would be to toss shock and have something to damage him in archives, but knowing that's what he'd expect, I'm actually going to toss an agenda in there. See, still traditional Jinteki mind games. This subliminal messaging makes so much money for me in this game. It's crazy. So, the only card that I threw out there on a remote that he's run was the Profiteering, and he only ran it after using Infiltration. I hate that I lost. Profiteering is one of the best cards in this deck because bad publicity doesn't matter. You don't have any ice, but it gives you a 15 credit boost, and you can use that to fuel your Sea Source and Scorched Earth. Anyway, we're going to keep throwing agendas out there by themselves until he decides to run one without an infiltration. Unless he has an infiltration in hand, I think he'll continue to not run these. Which is a shame, because I have plenty of traps in hand to throw down if he does start running them. That's where I get a lot of wins with this deck now, is I get up to 5 or 6 points in match point with this deck, and they start feeling the pressure and know they have to run. And it sets them up with either a tag from Snare or the net damage to open up the Scorch window. Now would be a good time for legwork or headquarters interface run. But, spoiler alert, you've already had enough of that in the videos I've recorded so far. We will not be having any death by snares this game. There's an early EMP. Worked quite well with the Scorch in this deck. I now have 2 agendas in archives. The Unorthodox predictions that I threw in there earlier, which I quite regret now, and then his data sucker milled the veterans program into archives. Use precog here, and I normally use it as kind of a card draw accelerator, just to pull what I want when I need it. I normally use it like I'm doing here. I've got 21 credits. I've got 16 more credits than him, I believe. I don't need the economy, but I want to go ahead and start getting some of the Scorch tech in my hand, so when a window opens, I have it in hand. If I was playing this deck today, I probably would put Jackson Howard a little bit closer there. Although I guess that would have allowed him to trash it if I did that, so maybe I'm not crazy. Now we're going to start tossing some of those shocks in archives, since it's becoming apparent he's not going to run headquarters the rest of the game. I think I forgot to point it out earlier. One of the net damage discards was Demolition Run, so I'm waiting for him to gen up a medium here and go to town. And it's one thing with no ice is you're wide open to stuff like Nerve Agent and medium and Demolition Run and account siphons, and you find other ways to play around them. Profiteering is one of the reasons it's so good in this deck. Is one of them basically negates all the account siphons you're going to take in a game. I've now installed 2 agendas in a remote server in a row, and then advanced them 3 times and score them. So in the absence of agendas, we're going to throw the snare out there and see if he takes the bait. And here comes the medium that I was worried about. Now, I believe there are 18 agendas in this deck, with 4 of them on the table right now. That means about 1 of every 2 cards in R&D should be an agenda. Which means I need to find a way to close this out quickly. Another reason to go for the snare play there. But he's not buying it. Fortunately, there's 2 more snares in R&D. And if he goes too crazy with that medium, he should get himself killed. But I already told you that's not how this one ends, didn't I? Alright, so what we're setting up next turn is a Seesaw Scorched Earth Neural EMP. So we go ahead and fire off the Neural EMP right there because I only have 3 clicks next turn. He draws back up to 5, runs R&D. There's the Braintrust. This was before Honor and Profit, so that is the only 2-pointer in this deck. So I guess I'm running 19 agendas then. And he runs R&D again. Pulls another agenda. That's perfect. It's just what we were looking for. And he's just at 3 cards now, so Seesaw Scorched Earth kills him. He draws up 1 card, but Seesaw Scorched Earth Neural EMP will still kill him. And I'm going to take my time doing the math here for a second. There's a second Scorched Earth, so now he's definitely dead. I've had far too many times in this game where I've messed up the C-source trace, missed some link on the table, or miscounted their credits in both real life games and Octagon. So taking my time here, make sure I get the trace right and everything, but that's going to be a game once I finish all the math here. Alright, that's it. Thanks for watching.